All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the third part of the show, we're going to talk about the Giants and the Lions getting into it in their joint practice. So they'll be playing each other tomorrow night, both of their first preseason games. But yeah, there was a handful of scuffles that went on. And three fights broke out during a joint practice between these two teams. The first altercation involved a shoving match between Giants cornerback Dave Belton and Lions wide receiver AmonRaSt.Brown. And of course, as I'm saying that, the camera decides to continue what it's been doing. But yeah, so Dane Belton and AmonRaSt.Brown got into it. A second fight occurred when Giants corner Andrew Phillips shoved the Lions pass catcher Jamison Williams, leading to a prolonged scuffle. And Daniel Jones actually got involved in a third altercation as well. He got in there and he shoved somebody. So, the quarterback's getting himself, into it. So, you know what? As a Giant fan, you got to like that. Malik Neighbors also got into it with one of the corners of the Lions, Kirby Joseph. Yeah, he got into it with him. Yeah, I mean, you got to like it. You got to like that they're showing some fight, and the Giants are you're hoping that they're not going to get pushed around if you're a Giant fan like myself. But you got to like what you're seeing early on, and especially with Malik Neighbors lighting it up in camp and Daniel Jones actually not looking that bad. Now, I don't want to get excited, but because, it is only practice. But, yeah, you do have to like it. And also, Giants general manager Joe Shane actually intervened to help break up the fights, as reported by The Athletic's Charlotte Carroll. These fights mark the first significant altercations of the preseason during inter-squad practices. The Lions and the Giants do not play during the regular season, but like I said, they're going to face off on Thursday, which is tomorrow. But, yeah, look, the Giants have been pushed around a lot over the course of the last, 10 years. They've had some years where they made the playoffs, but even in the playoffs, they got, when they lost, they got pushed around. They got bullied by the Packers, losing 38-13, losing to the Eagles. What was the score of that game? It was like 38-7. I don't even remember. Look, they came off that win against the Vikings, but still, I mean, you went up against the Eagles and you looked like you didn't even deserve to even be in the playoffs. So the Giants are looking to get back to how they were before the Eagles playoff game. And be even better than that. Be a better version of that 2022 team. And I do have some confidence in the direction that the Giants are going in. I've said that. The main problem with them is the quarterback position. And how is Daniel Jones going to play? And Daniel Jones, like I said, getting into it, shoving guys, and, he's got the beard going. This might be a different Daniel Jones that we see, because now you actually have weapons around him. You don't have Saquon Barkley, but I think these pass catchers, and we'll get into them a little bit later in the show, I do think that the Giants have some good pass catchers on this team, especially now with bringing Malik Neighbors into the fold. You got him. You got Jalen Hyatt, who's a deep ball guy. You have slot receiver in Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton. You still got there Isaiah Hodgins. You got two young tight ends. You've addressed the offensive line this offseason, so you hope that pays off. And you know what? I don't think the defense is going to be that bad. So all of that, and if Daniel Jones could at least be competent, I don't think the Giants are going to be that bad this year. I did say 7 wins, but, if you win 7 games, but you're basically in every single game, almost every game, maybe you steal a win from Dallas or Philly, that gives Giant fans hope. But, if Daniel Jones is the weak link of the team, then the Giants are going to move off of him and try to figure it out. And you got Dak Prescott, who could become available, which I don't know how I would feel. Now, do I think Dak Prescott would be an upgrade? over Daniel Jones? I mean, I guess, yeah. Well, I shouldn't say I guess. Yes, he would be an upgrade. But I don't know how I'd feel just because of all the years in Dallas, and now you're coming over to the Giants, and the Giants would pay him, a $60 million contract if that's the case. I don't know how I feel about that. And once again, Camera just decides to, you know, not work. But it is I do like that what I'm hearing though, that and seeing that Malik Neighbors is lighting it up. He looks like he's unguardable right now in camp. That's what the Giants were missing. They're missing that number one receiver. Because they haven't had that in years. They haven't had that since Odell Beckham Jr. And now you're getting another LSU receiver, and he looks like he's going to be a stud. And then for the Lions, I mean, look, we see these fights happen all the time. I mean, look at the Steelers. They had a fight amongst themselves in practice recently. Yeah, because I don't want to turn this all into a Giants talk, but, I mean, this is against a team. The Giants are doing this against a team that, has aspirations of going to a Super Bowl. And, with everything that's going on with the 49ers right now, and, let's see how Philly is coming back from the collapse last year. This could be the Lions' opportunity. Take over the conference. Be the team that represents the NFC this year. They have a lot of talent on this team. They got, a studded wide receiver in AmonRaSt.Brown. Two solid running backs. A tight end going into his second season, Sam Laporta. A good offensive line, Jared Goff on a new contract. On the defensive side of the ball, you got a stud, Nathan Hutchinson. This team could jump on the opportunity with everything going on around them. Take over this conference. Now, they play the 49ers late in the year. I think it's week 17. So they play them the second to last week of the season. So that could very well decide home field advantage. I mean, I think it'll definitely have, some implications with playoff seeding, but that's definitely a game you got circled. You got to have circled because that has heavy implications. That will have heavy implications. But yeah, it's just, look, these fights, it's part of the game. I mean, you don't want to see anybody getting hurt. I mean, AmonRaSt.Brown coming off of his new contract, you don't want to see him get hurt. I mean, watching receiver, him talking about, his oblique getting completely ripped off the bone, and he was still playing. Well, I mean, he did miss a game, I believe, but still, like, it's unbelievable. Like, you don't want to see this guy getting hurt again. I did see a clip of, Brian Burns. Now, obviously, it's practice, but, he would have sacked Jared Goff. There was that one clip of him, rushing Jared Goff, and, he would have sacked him. But, again, we're in practice. You can't hit the quarterback. So, that was encouraging to see. But, yeah, we'll see how the matchup goes when they go up against each other tomorrow. We'll see, what starters play. I would like to see. I mean, the starters are going to play. I think these two teams that they're going to have, the starters will play at some point, but maybe not the first preseason game. But I'm excited to watch the Giants and just see what they look like. Because I don't think they're going to be. I don't think they're going to be a pushover. I think there's some pressure going into this year for them to do well. I think the quarterback feels it, and I think the front office and the head coach feel it too, because of how last year went. Like for the Lions, I mean, I expect them to be a 12-win team. Dan Campbell, his job security, there's no issue with that. this team is going to be one of the best teams in the NFL. But for the Giants, oh man, this is ridiculous. The Giants, you made the playoffs the year before. You looked like you took a massive step forward, but then you took, a step back. So got to see how it goes. But I'm looking forward to. I'm actually looking forward to this season for them and how they're gonna do. So that's just that's my opinion on it. Like I said, I said around 7 wins, but who knows? I don't think on paper this team is bad. But again, comes down to the quarterback position. But I do like that he's getting in the mix with these scuffles, these fights that are breaking out, because that could go a long way. And they've been airing it out a lot in practice, which you want to see the Giants look like an offense that is dangerous, because I haven't seen that in years. There's not a lot of big plays with the Giants. It's a lot of, quick passes and, just nothing down the field often. It's not. You don't really see that. But maybe this is the year that the Giants, get back to more explosive plays. We see more of that. So, but let me know what you guys think, though, about the fights that broke out with the Lions and the Giants. You think we'll see any fights in the game tomorrow night? Let me know in the comments. So, we are going to take our next break. When we come back, we'll talk about Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes. Joe Burrow was interviewed by Kay Adams recently, so I just wanted to get into, what he had to say regarding Patrick Mahomes and them matching up against each other. So that is what we will do when we come back from our next break. So with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.